Sam, the miracle man, as he is affectionately called by his friends. Sam has survived 2 near-death experiences and 5 incurable diseases: bipolar, multiple sclerosis, migraines, psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis. Wow. Sam spent most of his life in pain with his mental and physical disabilities. Sam required 13 medications a day and needed mobility aids, a walker, and a cane. And today, Sam lives free of disability, free of medicine, and free of disease. Beautiful. After suffering for many years, he saw that traditional medicine was not the answer. Since his health continued to decline, Sam began to study about meditation and discovered that one of the benefits of meditation was inner peace. So he began with a simple practice of a daily 5-minute meditation, and he had no idea of the miraculous healing that would occur a short 3 months later. Today, Sam is a minister of inspiration, ordained interfaith minister, public speaker, and a self-realized healer. Sam leads 2 meetup groups in the Philadelphia area: Don't Dwell, Just Live, and One Perfect Spirit, Law of Attraction group. Sam has appeared on TV, radio, podcasts, and national magazines. He writes articles, creates vlogs, and lives his passion of helping people get out of their own life of pain. Sam brings hope to those that feel hopeless. Sam also has a YouTube channel called Don't Dwell. So definitely check that out. Boom, there we go. Bring the heat. Awesome. Sam, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule, man. We have a lot of people who are tuned in and excited to hear you. Stacy Welch said, Sam is amazing. He is not only my cousin, he has helped me with a lot. So she is excited to see you on here as well. So thank you, man. Thank you for coming on.
Sure.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more about this story. I read your introduction, your bio, but tell us firsthand what happened. What was that like? What did you learn along the process?
Yeah, so basically the process for me, just to recap my life story a little bit, in my 20s I was a bipolar, so I was suicidal and had to be hospitalized from that. I had all this head trash that I took as my truth, that I wasn't worthy of life, that life was too painful, so I had to be hospitalized so I didn't kill myself. Then at age 37, I lost the ability to walk from multiple sclerosis. And then I had a lot of other issues too. At 6, I was run over by a van that nearly killed me. Okay, I'll try to hold the microphone a little better.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Won't feel my face too much, but that's all right. So I had, then besides bipolar, multiple sclerosis, also the psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, migraines. I was a walking train wreck, essentially.
Wow.
I was a real mess. And I had all these doctors and all this medicine, but I wasn't getting better. I was actually getting worse. So it's like, okay, I didn't even know there was a way out, per se. But then I went on a ghost hunt because as a disabled man, I watched everything and anything on TV.
Right.
So I saw this ghost hunting show. I was like, well, is this real or fake? I had no idea. But I had some experiences I couldn't explain on this ghost hunt. So I went on this reading journey very slowly because I could barely see at this time. I could read 2 or 3 pages and I would stop or I'd get a migraine. But eventually I read about meditation. Meditation, to me, and what I read about meditation was one of the benefits was inner peace. I'm like, I need some inner peace. I had all of this noise in my head. I need some inner peace. So I just began a simple meditation practice, 5 minutes a day. I never had a meditation teacher because if somebody told me how to sit a certain way, breathe a certain way, hold my hands a certain way, my OC brain would have been so fixated on the rules, I would have never gotten out of the mind. So I just simply sat there not reacting to the brain, not reacting to all these thoughts. Then 3 months later, I simply heard a voice say, perfect spirit. I'm like, that's it. My spirit is fine. It's simply this body that's damaged. Then I just had a knowing that all was well. All sense of fear of my health was simply gone. The mind was quiet that night. Then I basically heard my intuitive voice guiding me on ways to recover the body. So here I am today with no diseases, no disability, no medicine, no nothing.
Wow.
And my doctors cannot explain it.
So what did you do? How did you heal? What was the process?
The process was learning not to react to the mind. Like the mind was all this head trash that I wasn't worthy of life, that I wasn't deserving of life. And then I got to see that all these mental rules were made up. They were fake. They weren't the truth. It was just head trash. But at the time, the language wasn't coming to me head trash. So I was talking about don't dwell on thoughts, let go of thoughts, all that kind of stuff, but it wasn't making the impact. But as soon as I said head trash to people, they get it.
Yeah.
They understand that it's trash. It needs to be ditched.
All right, man. Sweet. Well, thank you for the background. And how do we start diving into getting rid of the head trash and letting go of this limiting voice?
Well, it's really about slowing down. You know, we're always chasing this big, huge to-do list in our head. Like, I have to go do this, go do this, go do this. I need to go do this. I know when I began meditation, it was hard at first. Even 5 minutes a day was hard. Because mine was telling me, oh, you're missing your favorite TV show. What about that email, that thing from the email that just happened? All these excuses of mine would come up. And I was like, no, I deserve time to myself. So I just took those 5 minutes a day and just disconnected from everything. That was the process, just disconnecting.
Wow.
Just that's simple. Just disconnect from the world and say, I deserve time to myself. Then when the mind will go in storyteller land, you know, with the head trash, I just wouldn't react to it and say, no, this is my time. And then I would just focus, like, where's my feet? Where are my hands? Coming back to the sensations of the body. Because the body's always here in this moment. The storyteller, the head trash, is elsewhere, usually dwelling on yesterday or guessing what tomorrow is going to bring. So what I was learning to do was keep myself present without knowing that I was keeping myself present.
Wow.
I didn't have the teacher or anything. I simply knew that meditation equaled inner peace. And through inner peace, this is what I talk about, when we let go of the head trash, then we create the space for transformation to happen. Because there's no transformation happening if this voice is just yammering away.
Right.
Because it's just constantly beating you up that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy. Like, who are you to do this, or whatever excuse it comes up with. But it's always coming up.
What kind of transformation can people experience when they find this inner peace, when they quiet the mind, when they get rid of this head trash?
Yeah, like Eckhart Tolle once said, and this is pretty much what I agree with, that we can't transform ourselves. We can simply create the space for transformation. And we do that by letting go of the head trash. We create that space for transformation. And what I got to see from this was that grace is always, the universe is always flowing through us. But this head trash is always creating this block that's preventing this grace from descending, if you will. And that's what I saw was the place of miracles, if you will, when we can just completely let go and dive into the silence, the peace that's underneath all the noise of the world. There's this underlying peace, underlying silence that's always there.
Wow.
But the hardest thing for me was no self-criticism. Self-criticism just adds to the head trash.
Wow.
So that's one way to get also head trash is no criticism of self. Like, there are no mistakes. It's simply feedback to try it again. Otherwise, the mind will constantly beat you up.
How do you phrase it instead of criticism? So it's feedback, right? So no self
Feedback.
Okay. So I only give myself feedback. I don't give myself self-criticism.
Yeah, we don't criticize ourselves.
Okay.
That we're doing the best we can here in this moment.
Right.
The mind wants us to be at a higher level than we currently are. We're down here, but the mind wants to be up here. And that's unrealistic. You're here right now. And with practice, you slowly go up. But the mind wants you instantly up here in this elevated state when you're down here.
Wow.
So just realize it's the small steps. Because the mind wants to jump those 10 steps, those 20 steps, those 30 steps.
Yep.
But you got to take each small step. You know, it's that saying, you know, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with that single step.
Yes, and so that being present in the moment is when you're able to take those small steps. It's like, what can I do right now, instead of constantly being worried about this vision where I want to go. It's like, just be here right now.
Right, just be here right now and doing the best that you can possibly do, because that's all you can do is your best. It's never good enough for the mind. The mind wants you to always do better than what you can do, and that's impossible. You can only do what you can do.
Wow.
Like, these great athletes didn't get there overnight. They spent 10, 20 years perfecting their craft. So that's the thing that you have to realize, that even these successful business people, it wasn't overnight. They spent a lot of years in the garage perfecting their business or whatever it happened to be. All these small steps. But the head trash, the mind loves instant gratification. It wants it now, 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 now. And it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. It's just these small little steps.
Wow.
And it's just really just slowing down and taking those small steps.
So can you give us any other practical guidance or advice or lessons that you've learned or experience you've received or went through on how to stay more present, how to focus more on those small steps?
Yeah, you just have to be mindful of giving the mind ammunition. Like I tell people to throw out their scales. They're just numbers that the mind's giving meaning to. You know if you're eating right. You know how your clothes are fitting right. Do you really need that scale to tell you something you already know? Like we're constantly chasing outside of us, but we already know the information within us if we just can slow down. Then this intuitive voice just sort of rises up. That's what I found in my experiences that, and once we go back to Eckhart Tolle, when he's constantly doing his talks and people are asking him questions, they're like, that's a good question. I'm curious to the answer too. And what he came to say was, out of the silence, wisdom arises. So when you're silent, the wisdom will just rise up. And that's what I found in all my experiences, that the mind's trying to figure things out, but the spirit, our soul, knows the way. The intuition knows the way, but the mind loves to play one of its favorite games. What if? You'll get that impulse, like, I need to go do this. The mind will go, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Then you try it a different way, and you look back and you see, the impulse was right. I should have done my first gut reaction. That's what people have to realize, that your first gut reaction is usually the way to go. It may not work out perfectly, but just keep trusting that gut reaction and just take it as feedback. Okay, it didn't work out quite the way I wanted to. That's okay, let me try again, and keep trying and keep trying. It's like, what did Edison try, like 1,000 times to get the light bulb right or something like that? He just kept trying and trying and trying. That's all you can do, is just keep trying. If you don't try, then you'll never make progress. But it's just a matter of taking that leap of faith and diving into it.
Wow. That's awesome. So I think I already told you about Stacy's comment, and then we had Michelle Kavanaugh say Sam is wonderful at helping get rid of head trash. So you got another fan, Michelle. And I'm curious, what are you doing with these people that has them say you're great at doing this? Like what else can you give us? Like what kind of processes or what else?
What I do is I lead them through meditations.
Okay.
My meditations, like guiding them into keeping themselves present, if you will, of backing away from the storyteller. And that's all it is. It's just a practice to realize that it's a storyteller, and it's constantly beating you up. It's like the mind can be either be your friend or foe. And for a lot of people, it's foe, because it's constantly saying you're not good enough, that you don't measure up, and those kind of things. So when I talk, it's very simple. I don't get into these really big, long stories. So I never had a teacher. So I'm not a fan of concepts. These concepts, I just don't like. Life is fairly simple. It's just the mind. It's constantly getting in the way with all these concepts, all this seeking, all this searching for the magic pill, the magic answer. And it just isn't there. It's one step in front of another step, in front of another step. And unfortunately, it's a bit of a slow journey at times. But then when I look at it in my own life, that I lived in pain for 38 years roughly, 38 years of pain. But I got out of it completely in under 2 years.
Wow.
As this simple practice of just disconnecting from the world and taking time for myself.
Wow. And how did you manage to do that with a busy schedule, lots going on? How did you make it a priority and stick to that?
Well, I like that one Zen saying that says, meditate for 30 minutes a day, and if you're too busy, meditate for an hour.
Yes. Yes.
Because you'll see that the to-do list isn't that important.
Mm.
It's like your well-being and your health is more important.
Mm.
And if you can reduce all this stress and all this busyness, then you step into your own power, your own truth.
Mm.
And it felt like when I got my health back, I took like 15 years off my life, it felt like.
Wow.
Like people don't realize that I'm 50 years old today.
Wow. Yeah.
Because I just did this meditation practice, and the stress, the anxiety is just way, way down. Usually if I see like a stressful moment, an anxious moment, I say, okay, there goes that mind again.
Mm.
Get myself back into this moment, take a breath, feel my feet on the ground.
Mm.
And one of the things I helped that's coming to me that helped a friend that was having a panic attack on the subway, I just had her grab that metal pole, and I had her describe that metal pole to me. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it rough? Is it smooth? And just tell me everything you can about that pole. And that's what the conscious mind can't multitask. The conscious mind cannot multitask, as you probably know. So you keep your single focused, then if the mind's in the storyteller land, you go back to that focus of like, what's here? What can I touch right now? And if you watch like the Dalai Lama, he's constantly touching things, whether it be people, objects, whatever. Dalai Lama is constantly touching things.
Wow.
He's keeping himself here in this moment.
Wow.
And just really embracing life, like right here, right now. Not allowing the mind to filter that down, not allowing it to water it down.
Wow. How do we stay focused on the big goals and big dreams while staying present?
You're setting your intention, but you're not so focused on the outcome. You're focused on the task at hand. I'm coming back. I never had a teacher, but I've read all these spiritual books and stuff, trying to catch up, if you will. And one of the things that I read in the Bhagavad Gita that really made a lot of sense is focus on your labor, not the fruits of your labor. Like focus on the task of your hand. If you complete focus on the task at hand and did the best you could, it will far supersede your goal, your outcome. Because that's just like a set thing. But if you really did your best in each moment, your goals are just going to be blown away. Because the goal can become a limitation. You may want to say, I want to reach this plateau. But if you just focus on the task at hand, you may just blow that away. But you just can get comfortable saying, okay, I did enough. I got here. But if you just kept going and going and going, the sky's the limit. That all rules are made up. They're completely in the head. There's physical limitations within the body, but other than that, it's all mental.
Wow.
Life is mostly a mental game. And that's the head trash, is that mental game.
Wow. So what are the rules that are coming up for you, or that you focus on in terms of dealing with this head trash? I'm sure you've already said some of them. Can you recap what those are?
Yeah, some of the rules are if the mind's getting busy, touch something. Put yourself back to this moment. If the mind's really, really going, you can't snap out of it, then start stomping your feet. Yell, scream, whatever you can to change the focus, to really break that. And you might have to do some things, because the mind can be very powerful, to insist. It'll do everything it can to get your attention. And sometimes you just have to be persistent and be determined in a way to get your back self here in this moment. Because the only thing that is real is this moment. Everything else, the mind is just guessing. And once you realize that there's just right here, right now, and like boredom is a story, because sometimes when you're in meditation, the mind will be very bored. Well, boredom is a story that there's something better to do. But there's nothing better to do except for your health. If you don't have your health, nothing else matters. And this health trash creates stress. And stress is so deadly to the body.
Wow.
I know that from personal experience.
Yes.
I saw that all my autoimmune diseases were caused from my self-criticism. And when I'm seeing in all the autoimmune diseases, there's an element of either self-criticism or self-hate. And every autoimmune disease that I've seen in people, there's an element of something not good enough within that person that they haven't accepted within themselves.
Wow. Dude, This is awesome. It's just like boom, there it is. This is the conversation. This is the conversation of the century. Like the whole world needs to hear this, man.
It's very, very simple. No
Yeah.
concepts.
Yeah.
All the concepts are just made up. All these rules. Like you can look in the sky. Can you tell me what's east and west, north and south? You just can't. And when you're in an airplane looking down, can you see all the state divisions or anything like that? No, they're just concepts. And the world loves rules. A lot of Leamington rules in the world. And we see that when going through school, we had all these rules about how things should be done. But they never taught us in school that, in school they always taught us to cherish our opinions, our beliefs, to cherish them. But what makes them true? They never got you to question that you have thoughts, but what makes those thoughts true?
Me, my agreement with them.
Right, you're agreeing with them. And one test I have to do that's really interesting that happened to me, after I heard a voice say perfect spirit, out of nowhere some old pictures showed up from my aunt of me from like various ages. So I had all these pictures in front of me, like a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, 15-year-old. And I was looking at all these photos and like, wow, look at all those changing bodies. Where did I go?
Wow. Where did I go?
Where did I go? All those changing bodies, where did I go? No place.
Yeah.
The one who sees it with the eyes never changes.
Mm.
That's our perfect spirit. And the spirit is perfect. Because it's just a matter of the body being the body. The human body does what it does, and it does break down, it does pass away, but the perfect spirit continues on.
Wow.
And that's what I come to realize with these ghost hunts, that there are ghosts around because the perfect spirit continues, just without the body.
Yeah.
That's another discussion we can have about the spirit and how it stays around and all that good stuff.
And so while people are here on Earth, what's your perspective of what our spirit is here for and here to experience?
It's here to have a human experience. We're here for the human experience. I don't see anything as good or bad. It's just my current experience. Because what's good for me is bad for another. It's all personal perspective. That reality itself is neutral. It's neither good nor bad. It's just there. It's just neutral. And then the mind says, oh, this shouldn't be, so that's bad. Oh, this is perfect, so it should be, so it's good. So it's just those thoughts. Again, it's the head trash. Once again, judging. Always judging, creating opinions. But the only thing I see that we really need to do is be kind and compassionate to one another. Then things will flow a lot easier if everyone could just be kind to each other and not put their agenda forward like, this is my way. It's either my way or the highway. This agenda that we have in this world today, that's why we have these wars and conflicts, because it's what my belief is better than your belief. But are any beliefs really true?
Wow. Just a strongly held thought, right? A belief is just a really strongly held thought that someone had. And
right. Yeah. And like emotions, I see emotions as felt thoughts. Because without the thoughts, you wouldn't have any emotions.
Right.
It would just be, you'd just be a zombie. Everything would be neutral. But we do have these ups and downs, and that's part of being human. I have them as well, but then I just realized, say, okay, what's going on, and get myself back into this moment, into the here and now.
So do you ever aim to, or what's the state that you aim to be in, and does that change? Like, for example, would you want to experience adventure and excitement and like ecstasy, body sensations of ecstasy? Like what is it that you're constantly moving towards, or does it change?
Well, what I'm constantly seeking is new experiences.
Okay.
That everything is always a new experience.
Is that, would you say that's every human, or is that just something that you particularly enjoy?
No, I call myself an experience junkie. Okay. I want to have all these experiences because it's part of the human experience. That's why I see we're here on Earth to have human experiences. So when I have those new experiences, oh, I never tried that before, I never did that before, and just trying new things, taking that leap, say, well, I never did this before, so let's see how this goes.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's what I'm working at this abbey that you can see behind me here, that
Mm-hmm.
I'm working at this abbey. And I think it's a perfect place. It's nice and quiet. And I never saw myself working at an abbey before, but here I am.
Mm. It's a
It's
new
just,
experience.
it's a new experience. I just have no idea what this is going to entail, but here I am.
Wow. So we do have some more comments. We had Michelle said, "Isn't it great?" or "Isn't he great?" Makes perfect sense. Simple, simple. We were talking about things being simple. And then Shamika says, "Chris, your interviews just get better and better." And I believe that's because of the guest that I interview. And Sam, thank you for bringing this awesome conversation here today. It's very, very
Yes.
powerful.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot of stories because most stories are just concepts.
Mm.
And the mind likes stories because it likes to cling on to concepts,
Mm.
thinking, oh, there's the truth. There's the magic pill. There's the magic
Mm.
bullet. And it's like, no, just let all that go. It's just head trash.
Mm.
Just tap into your own truth. What's true for you? What resonates for you?
Wow.
It's your own truth.
So
That's really what I want
I'm
people to follow.
curious when it comes to like seminars and stuff. People use stories people use stories to convey a point, to convey a concept. So, is there a more effective way of doing that at a seminar to teach a concept, or is teaching concepts important?
To a certain degree, it depends what you're trying to accomplish with
Mm-hmm.
that. Like I'll share my own personal stories of what happened in my life when I was suicidal or when I couldn't walk, to try to inspire people. Like I call myself the minister of inspiration. Here's the struggles that I have, and this is where I am now, because I took 5 minutes a day to myself. I began with 5 minutes a day. That's it.
Wow.
It's that simple of just disconnecting. But you'll find disconnecting, even for 3 minutes, is so agonizing to the mind. It feels like it's missing something.
Yes.
But this is our one body. This is it. This is our one body. The mind wants to pick up the phone and say, hey, this body's not working so good. I need a new body here. It doesn't work that way. And that's what I see with self-criticism. It doesn't work. You can't get another body. You can't get another mind. This is what you have. So criticism is self-defeating. And it creates these limitations. That's that negative voice. It doesn't serve us, doesn't support us.
Wow.
It's very, very simple. And the stories are there just to convey messages, but I don't want people to attach to the stories, because the stories just keep the head trash alive. More concepts, the more head trash is the way I see it. It's just more confusion. I just want people to be their own guru, to realize just what's true for you. Like, if you want to eat this diet, go eat that diet. If somebody has that diet and it sounds good to you, then do that. If it doesn't sound appealing to you, then don't do it. Just follow your own truth. And just realize what's really coming to me is that you live in this body. Others are just guessing what's best for you. You ultimately know what's best for you. And you'll just keep trying things and trying things and trying things. Then you'll find that one thing that works for you. But you have to keep on trying. That's the hardest thing for the mind. It wants that instant gratification. It doesn't like to keep on trying. It gets into mind of being defeated. And when I'm thinking about defeated, I also think about the other end, perfectionism. Perfectionism is a poison, because you're waiting. That's another favorite head trash game, is the time isn't right. The time isn't right now. I can't do this right now. The time isn't right. So this gets you into paralysis. The time will never be right, because those perfect conditions will never be there. Sometimes you just have to take that leap of faith. And if it doesn't work out, you just take another leap, and another leap, another leap. And it's not like, most leaps are not deadly. They're not going to kill you. It's just the mind. It's the mind is constantly does what it does. And that's my next book I want to write, is the head trash games. The time isn't right, the what if games.
Yep.
It plays, there's like 10 to 12 games the mind loves to play that create all these limitations.
Wow. So we had Stacy say, "What about always wanting to please others? How do you get out How do you get that out of your head and just be you?
Yeah, that's another head trash game is people pleasing. Is always
Mm.
trying to do best for others. But it's ultimately what's best for you.
Mm.
That you can't make everyone happy. And if you try to make everyone happy, you're going to be extremely unhappy, depressed, sad, because it's an impossible goal of
Mm.
to realize that you have to come first. It's not selfish to put yourself first because you have to be strong. If you're not strong, then you really can't help another fully.
Mm.
This is why you hear stories like, well, he helped everyone, but he died so young
Mm.
because he never took care of himself. He always put people before himself, so he never took care of his own needs, his
Mm.
own nutrition, his own exercise. He always says, oh, instead of the hour for the gym, I'm spending the hour helping these other people. So the body gets into self-neglect,
Mm.
and the self-neglect leads to early death, unfortunately, that we can't serve empty cups.
Mm.
That's what's coming to me. You can't serve empty cups, and you can't make everyone happy. And once you realize that I have to come first, it's not selfish, because I only have this one body, this one life. But once I get myself on a good path, then I can help others because I'm strong enough.
Mm. Wow. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts about legacy?
Legacy. Legacy. Well, what I see for like my own personal legacy is the videos that I'm leaving behind, the
Mm.
books that I'm leaving behind.
Mm.
Of that, here's this man that lived a long time ago that had all these diseases,
Mm.
and he just took 5 minutes to himself and he healed himself of all this.
Mm.
Well, what would happen if I took 5 minutes to myself? How would my life improve? That's what I want people to do is, sometime tonight, just disconnect from everything
Mm.
and just see how long you can just take time for yourself and say, like, all these emotions, like, I need to be happy to do this. Always writing these emotions like happiness, sadness, but the real happiness is within.
Mm.
Once you're content and happy with yourself, then that's all that really matters. That if you're happy with you, then that's a good sign that the head trash isn't so much in play. Unless you're a narcissist, and that's a whole different issue.
Mm.
Because there's some narcissists that are all about themselves
Mm.
and are not into helping other people.
Right.
But once you get yourself strong, then you help other people. But the narcissist personality is all about them, and they'll never help another. It's them, 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 them.
Yeah.
But it's all about taking time for yourself, making yourself strong, and
Mm.
allocating time to yourself each day, and allocating time to help others, and just finding that right balance for you. But there has to be the balance. That's the hard thing with life, is finding the balance with all these electronic devices that we have, Facebook, Twitter, TV, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, all these distractions. We just have to find the balance that works for us.
Mm.
And just finding that balance. That's the hardest part with life. Because the noise of the mind, the head trash,
Mm.
doesn't want to find that balance because it's chasing and chasing and chasing. And what's coming to me, this analogy is that you're a shoe and you're looking for other shoes to discover that you're a shoe. That you are this shoe. You don't have to go looking for the world to find out that you're a shoe, that you are it, that you have all the wisdom within you, that if you can just let go. And that's another discussion, is once you let go, you tap into the collective consciousness.
Mm.
And that's the way what I did when I let go of the head trash. All this wisdom just arose out of the silence, like, oh, go do this now, go do this now, go do this.
Mm.
And my body, my spirit was providing the directions on how to recover the body. The mind couldn't possibly figure out how to do this. It was just trusting that intuition that knows the way. Your intuition knows the way. And it's hard to distinguish between the head trash and intuition, which I think this is helpful for people. How do you know what's intuition versus head trash? Intuition is short and sweet. Do yoga, drink water, less TV. The head trash is coming with the story. You should go do yoga because of this, 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 and this.
Mm.
The intuition is just 2 or 3 words, short and sweet, no opinions. Just do yoga, drink water, less TV. Short, sweet, that's intuition. There's no story attached to it.
I'm putting this in the comments. This is gold. Head trash. books. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
So that's the really what you can tell is once you follow your intuition, learn that discernment between the hardest part of the spiritual path, if you will, is discernment. What is my soul saying, my intuition versus the head trash saying, and learning what is best for you. Oh, I have to drink less water. No reason to it, just drink less water. The mind will come up with all these reasons why you're drinking more water. But you just do that. You just trust that. Like when I was told to go do yoga, when this voice told me to do yoga, I was like, what? My balance is all off. I can't do yoga. So when I began yoga, and the yoga center that I was directed to did vinyasa yoga, which is really aggressive type yoga. So when I first began, I would fall over a lot, but I stuck with it. And 6 months later, I didn't need my cane. My balance was coming back online. And with the multiple sclerosis, my balance was terrible. And now I had like no coordination of my left hand on my body, and now I can juggle.
Wow.
I'm the world's only person that's been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis that can juggle.
Wow. Wow. So, good.
So your body can recover. Miracles can happen. People can spark a miracle if they can just let go and trust themselves. That everything is within them.
Wow.
And real true teachers point you back to yourself.
Wow.
That's your attitude, your determination that determines your life.
So how, since you do coaching, right? You're a mindset coach and you teach people, how do you balance giving people direction because you have the wisdom of how to plan and how to do the next steps and having them discover their own truths?
Right. It's all about discovering their own truths and getting them to see if there are any kind of rituals that they're doing. There's some people that come to me and want to deepen their spiritual practice. And I ask them to describe your spiritual practice. They're like, well, I play this music. I sit over here. I light these insets. I pull out this. I pull out that. And I say, let all that go. Sit someplace different. Switch up your routines. And that's where I really try to get them all advice is switch up your routine. The mind gets into habits. And sometimes you have to just do something completely different that's outside your comfort zone. And for people that like to do certain things, and you challenge them to do something different, like you put your sock on every day, your right foot first, do your left one. And that's going to feel really awkward. But that's how you put these plasticity of the brain, that's how you put the new neural pathways in, is by doing something different. And that's what I really want people to do is like, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, why don't you try something a little bit different? Try to go a little bit left or a little bit right. And just see how that feels to you. That the mind likes to get comfortable. The mind gets comfortable with misery, with pain. It doesn't realize that there's a way out because of all these things we told about society. And what's really coming to me, another story I'd like to share is when I had multiple sclerosis and I was in therapy, the protocol was after 10 minutes of therapy, you had to go nap for an hour. You had to go lay down for an hour. They didn't ask you how you felt. They said, 10 minutes of therapy, you must be tired, go lay down. But they didn't even ask how I was doing. Are you tired? Do you want to lay down? They said that was their protocol. And society has all these protocols of how you should be. And once you realize that, I know how I'm feeling. I live in this body. They're just guessing. Once again, they're just constantly guessing. It's just really getting people to just trust themselves. To constantly stop that search. Stop all that reading. Read once in a while to get some new ideas, some new insights. But don't have your whole life wrapped in books. Go live life. Go have these experiences. Read a couple pages. Try it out. See how it works for you. If you make some progress, read a couple more pages and try it out. Because some people read these self-development books from front to back, and they don't try any exercises. Any of that. You would only need one self-development book. If you did all those things they tell you in that book, your life would be so much different. But it sounds too difficult, too hard to the mind, so they don't do that work. So a lot of the self-development books have the same principles, the same ideas, sharing the same message over and over again. And people just don't want to do the work. That's ultimately comes down to, are you willing to spend 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day with yourself. And just to realize, to see that I have all these thoughts, but I am not these thoughts. And that was the hardest thing for me to see as a bipolar when I was suicidal, when it was telling me that I wasn't deserving of life, that I wasn't worthy of life. And that really dark mindset was, wait a second, these thoughts aren't true. Why am I making them true? And that's what I tell people. If anything, I'm not a thought leader. I'm an anti-thought leader.
Right.
See, most thoughts are nonsense. 90% of thoughts are nonsense. It's just we've got to use those 10% of thoughts to solve problems, challenges. The rest is just nonsense.
Wow. Wow, man. Awesome. Well, Sam, dude, this is a epic conversation. So grateful for it. And I just want to come to the final, last minute points that you really want people to take away and implement into their lives and walk away with.
Yeah, the big thing to do, if meditation sounds too difficult for you, then simply go around touching objects throughout the day and notice things about those objects. Like, is this object hot, cold, rough, smooth? As soon as you ask yourself those questions, you're out of the storyteller. You're out of the mind. As soon as you're touching an object and you notice everything about that object. Because the mind can't multitask. If you're convinced you can multitask, then I challenge you, in your dominant hand, go write, on the other side, go read. And try to do both at the same time, read and write. You can't do that. That's true multitasking.
Yeah.
So once you realize that conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time, change your focus. Just change your focus to something else. And the quickest way is, where's my feet? What am I touching? What am I hearing? And just engaging your senses, getting back to right here, right now. As Eckhart Tolle said, the power of now. Like all the powers in this moment. But the mind's always future guessing. So the power's always here in our moment. And the real power is when we listen to our own. Our own power is when we listen to our truth. That's our strength. Our wisdom is there. It's telling you the way forward. And the mind's playing, what if? What if I do this instead? What about this? Just trust your gut reactions. It may not work out the way the mind expects, but just keep trying. And keep trying, and don't give up. This is our one life. And as long as you're alive, there's always hope.
Wow.
Always hope. I mean, I was a disabled man. I was taking 22 pills a day. I'm on none of that today.
Wow.
Because I believed in myself. I was determined that I deserved inner peace. That was my mantra. I deserved inner peace.
Wow. Wow, man, that's incredible, Sam. Oh my goodness. So, where can people follow you, stay connected with you, and where will they see you over the coming months and years?
Well, they'll see me on Facebook. I have my YouTube channel. I have my website that I have to update a little bit because I don't charge for my services. Everything I do now is by donation. It just feels more pure that way. When there's no expectations, it's the mind has all those expectations. So I don't have any expectations. It's like I help people. They help that they return the favor by making a donation. Great. If not, that's okay. I'm just here just to help people. I've been through so much. I just want to help people. And I know when I was very, very sick, my health costs were skyrocket. They were through the roof. So I don't have all these demands for like, to have a session with me, it's a couple $100 now. It's just the mind wanting that, the gratification that if I do everything, donation works for me. That's where I feel comfortable. But once again, it's about following your own truth. What are you comfortable with? Because there's no rules on how things have to be. It's wherever you're comfortable. And that's the big lesson for you, is be comfortable with your own rules, your own truths. And don't follow somebody else saying, well, they're doing this, so I must do that. Don't do that. I once heard somebody said, those who go with the flow go down the drain.
That's good.
So you just follow your own truth. That's what I want people to get. Follow your own truth and learn to trust yourself. Because ultimately you have to live it yourself. Most people don't really care that much about you. You have to really care about yourself and realize you're it. But the universe has your back, though. If you just learn to just trust that wisdom within you and just really just trust.
Yes.
And really just love this one life that you have.
Mm.
That this is it. I mean, you can't get another life. This is it.
Yes.
So make the most of it.
Amen. Sam Shelley, the man. Oh my goodness gracious. You have an incredible fan base on here. We have a lot of people who are watching, tuning in right now. Everyone, thank you for jumping on here. Sam, thanks for coming on and delivering this wisdom. And dude, we would love to have you back on again. I love this conversation. I love what you brought to the table, and keep doing what you're doing. Keep making the world a better place, man.
That's all I can do. Best I can do is help
Yeah.
people. That's it. Just love one another. That's the ultimate thing. Love one another. We're all trying to do our best.
Yes.
But we have to try to support each other best we can, not criticize another, not judge another, unless they're causing harm or damage to the society or whatever. That's the only time you like to step in. If they're just off on their own, not damaging anyone, then that's their path.
Yeah.
But if they're causing harm, that's where you have to step in and say, hey, this isn't right. That's the human thing to do, is kindness, compassion.
Yeah. That's it, man. Well, bro, you have the best day ever. Thank you so much,
All right.
and we will see you soon.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Take care, man.